Hello and welcome back to my Hydra Base toy box. I've got the Falcon with me here today, and I'm using the Ultimate Falcon Power Disc, which gives him his outfit from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie. I just like this outfit so much better than his default red and white one. That costume just looks way too cheesy to me. But anyway, my goal today is to finish up the build exercise for this toy box. And before I do that, I just want to point out one thing that I missed last time, and that is the stairways over here on either side of the wall. I had forgotten to place these last time I was in this toy box, so I went ahead and put them in now. They're the same ones we're using in the outpost over there, the middle one. So as you can see, I've already placed a lot of stuff in this toy box between the last episode and this one. I did that to save time. It's a long, tedious process to place all of these plant clusters in here and put them in the same place that I had them in the original toy box. And you don't need to watch me place each and every one of these. That would make for a really boring video. So I've placed them ahead of time. And what I'm going to do instead is give you a quick flyover so you can see exactly where to put each plant. And I'm only using 5 of these plant clusters in total. So out of the plants drawer, I'm using this big tall one. I'm using these 2 long strips and the 2 corners, and that's it. And you'll notice, even though that you're only using 5 pieces, when you're down at ground level, even though this piece and that piece are the same piece, the way they're oriented, they look like 2 different pieces. And that'll be even more so once we style these. So even though it seems like we don't have a lot of variety, by rotating the pieces, they actually look different on each side. And so you can get the variety you need, and you don't have to use as many pieces. And as I said last time, that saves a lot of memory. But anyway, let me go ahead and just give you a quick flyover here, and you can pause this video along the way so you can see exactly which pieces I've placed and where I've placed them. So feel free to pause it. I'll try to give you a good look at everything, and pay attention to the seams on the ground if you're trying to rebuild this in your own toy box, the seams on the walls and that sort of thing as to how the plants are placed with respect to those. And we'll just do the top of this mesa here first. And your plant placements don't have to be identical to mine. As long as you're relatively close, that's all that really matters. And even then, you don't have to place them exactly at the same positions and orientation that I have them in my toy box. It doesn't really matter that much. These are just scenery. I'll just give you again a good look at each of these. So yeah, it doesn't have to be quite as precise. If you want to place your pieces differently, that's just fine. All right, let's start over on this end of the mesa, and then we'll go counterclockwise around the toy box. So the piece of terrain that's down below, and I'll try to highlight these for you too so you can kind of see where they are in relation to the terrain seams. And another thing I want to point out is you don't want to pack this full of trees. So you don't want trees right up next to each other everywhere. Having a few clusters like this, where they're together, is fine. But you don't want to fill your entire toy box that way. You want to leave enough room for players and enemies to be able to move around the trees. And this also saves memory because you have fewer objects in your toy box. And there's nothing wrong with having wide open areas where there's no trees either. In nature, you frequently find clearings and things. And you also want to leave room for the roads. So I've got a wide enough path here for the motorcycle and the patrol vehicle to drive around. So you want to make sure you leave enough space for those. But let's get back over here. deviating from where I was. And let's go ahead and select this block so you can kind of see where these are placed along here. And it's a little bit thicker over here along the edge, just because I'm trying to hide the fact that the toy box ends here. You'll notice I don't have any nice rocky edges. It's just the flat edge of the toy box along here. And because the top of the surface here matches the skybox so well, you really don't need any kind of a finishing edge on this. I think if you just cover it up with plants, that's fine. Players shouldn't be venturing over that way too far anyway. And then here's the next terrain block and where things are placed along here. We'll zoom in a little bit here so you can get a better look at this. And again, it's nice if you try to recreate my toy box precisely, but you don't have to be that precise. You do want to leave enough room for the vehicles to get through here, though. So let's see, how can I give you a good look at this little area? Let's scroll upward a little bit. And I had most of these styled as I was placing them, but I've unstyled them so you can see exactly which pieces I'm using and where I've put them. And how they're oriented. And there's this big one up here. And over on this side, if we look at this block, that's what we have over here. And again, highlight that block so you can see the pieces that I've placed here. I put these along here just to kind of hide the ledge hang over here a little bit, climbing cliff. So as you're running around, if you're a ground-based character, you have to hunt a little bit to find that. I don't want to backtrack too far here, so keep going this way around. And over here, I've placed a couple of Dunbrock walls with the long bridge in between them. And I've got a couple of ledge hang pieces here on the back side of this. So you can get up on top of this if you want. And that little bunker is going to be protecting the climbing cliffs over here. And I may have to take this one out temporarily to put the climbing cliffs in. We'll see how it goes. And again, just so you can know the orientation here, the power generators are out over that way. And then we have a really large open area here. So the motorcycle and patrol vehicle will come through here, drive through this kind of a wide area over here. And then over on this side, and this piece. It takes a little while to place all of these. think it took me about an hour to place all of these plants where I wanted them originally. Trying to zoom up here a little bit. And here's the terrain block here. So you can kind of see where plants are placed there with respect to that. And then over on this one. And you can see we've left plenty of space in here for the car chase. You want to make it pretty clear to the player where the road goes. So I have this lined pretty thickly along the edges with pieces. But then you get back off the road and we have open areas. So you just want to make it clear to the player as they're driving where to go. You don't want to leave it too ambiguous. And then before we get too far to the right there, let's go ahead and look up at this outpost up here. So we've got some plants along here. Some plants in that back corner, along the edges. All right, and then we come over here to this little guard tower. This piece here, let me pick this up. This is the building wood frame from Building Sets Group 2. And you'll see my graphics meter's a little bit pegged here, so it's not going to let me put this back down. So let's see what happens if I go back into Spark mode. Okay, it leaves it there, but it leaves the blue box around it. And then this is the Dunbrock climbing ladder that we used last time. These sandbags are from the decorations drawer. I believe they are part of the Cars playset from Sarge's store. They go around Sarge's store. Alright, some plant placements there. Plant placements over here. Again, you can pretty much see where I've left space for the road. It's all outlined through here with trees. And it's not perfectly straight. It does turn a little bit. There are plants that stick out a little ways from the others. This one's not lined up right with the edge of these. It's kind of sticking out here to the right, half a nudge. You don't want the road to be too straight. And you can see it kind of goes off to the right here a little bit as you travel. But let's get back here so you can kind of see what I've got. And I'm highlighting the block underneath so you can see where the plants are placed on each block here. Let me give you a turn this way so you can see from that direction how things are spaced. And then over here in this corner, this is the opposite corner away from the power generators, I've moved the starting pad over here, facing that direction towards the power generators. And I've put a little clearing around it so that you can see when you first start this toy box. You can kind of see you're over here in the woods a little bit. Next block over. Kind of see where these are all placed. And then this one, that's where all of these are placed. And then we're back over here. All right, Alright, on the next row, over this way, there's not quite so many. This is a much wider open area. I thought having a wider area here with the bunker, the guard tower placed here, a little bit larger one than that we looked at, than the one we looked at over there. I thought as you're starting out on that corner and you see this large area and this bunker, that kind of moves you in this direction. And that's why I put the motorcycle parked over here, which we'll get to later. I'll give you a good look at this tower and the plant placements around it. And there's a Dunbrock ladder here on the back side of this to get up there if you don't have the super jump ability. Let's get back here again. Alright, so there are the plant placements on top of that block. And then the next block is over here. I want to give you a good look at those tall trees so you can see how they're oriented. And then over by the cave, I got a little locator over there I forgot to take out. I was playing around with this earlier. And then there's this block and all of the plant placements that are on that. And this, I think, was the last corner that I did, so there's fewer plants over here. I was watching my memory meter climbing and also noting that there really wasn't anything over here anymore, especially when I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted with that mesa. So I just put fewer plants over this way and called it good enough. And the plant placements around here. Make sure I give you a good look at this area here. And then this block here. Again, try to give you a view from every angle there. And then the final block over here. And we'll take a little bit closer look around the base of this. You'll notice I put a lot of plants all the way around the ground here. I've got plants along the base of the mountains, and that just kind of helps hide the abrupt change in texture from the white snow to the dark mountain. It softens that a little bit, so I really like that. It really needs it. And then up on top of here, just a few little plants. And if I had the memory, I might have put a few more up along through here, but I figured the player's never coming up this direction, so I left all this blank. So most of the upper layers here on the mountain don't have any trees. I did place this one over here just because this is where you're coming up initially, and I placed a few over here because this is where you're coming up the climbing cliff to get to that fortress over there. And so that's all my plant placements, and that should give you a pretty good idea of where I placed everything. Again, you can pause the video along the way if you need to see where I put everything. Alright, so now let's go ahead and style all of these, and I've already placed the Frozen Flourish power disc on my Disney Infinity base. So I'm going to go ahead and set the theme, which will change that one, and then I'll theme all. Are you sure? Yep. And it'll take a few minutes now for it to update all of these. And we'll just let it do its thing. There's so many plant clusters in here. And there we go. Looks like all of them are done. And that just looks really, really good. Alright, so now we come out of Spark mode. And you'll notice my graphics meter has dropped significantly. Because those plant clusters, unstyled, take up a lot of memory for some reason. And once you style these, though, it's not so bad. The other thing, too, is I actually had all of these placed and saved my toy box and had them styled as these. And before the video, I went and styled them back the other way, so that might have been something, too. When I first loaded up the toy box, they looked like this, and then I styled them back to their default state. And so that might have done something with that graphics meter as well to cause it to peg. But right now, that's what we've got, and it looks pretty good. All right. Now the last thing we need are the ledge hangs for the ledge hang maze that allows the ground-based characters to scale the central mountain. And I could have just used the climbing cliffs like I did over here, and that would save a lot of memory. But I really wanted to try implementing the impossible cliff gameplay that we saw in the footage for the scrapped Moana playset that Infiniteer Adventures shared on their channel. And so that's why I did it this way instead. So we're going to go ahead and build the ledge hang mazes, and there's 3 of them. So let me pull up my screen grab here of this. Make sure I can go ahead and build this. All right. And then we'll go up to the platforming toys drawer. And I'm just going to use the default style for these. All right, so we're going to begin in the middle of this little section over here. And again, this is behind that little bunker in the back corner where we first started building this toy box. And we're going to go up 1 nudge and place this first block here. And then we'll pick up the inside corner. This piece sits in here like that. Go back and pick up this ledge hang piece. And we're going to put this halfway over top of that one like that. And we're going to do 3 of them. And for this one, I'm actually going to put this piece in to give the player an opportunity to drop down if they need to avoid the hazard obstacle going back and forth. And then we'll do 1 above that and off to the left. And then off on this side, we'll put in the diagonal. Oops, go up that way. This piece will sit up here like this, and this one will straddle it. This one will straddle that one, and we're going to do 3 of these, followed by this one. And then the inside corner once again. Alright, and at this point they can hop out onto a ledge up there. And for the ledge, if we go back to the terrain drawer, hopefully it left it. Yep. That piece is the one we're going to use. So this is going to sit, whoops, something is off here. Because that piece sits there. So this should have been up. Alright, let me look at this. What did I miss? Oh. This piece should have been up. So everything after the first piece needs to be shifted upward 1 little nudge. Sorry about that. Didn't even notice that. but that's easy enough to fix. I'm just going to slide all these pieces up one little bit. Things happen even to experienced builders like me. But you don't have to panic. And I can go ahead and just do all that offline, but you're going to do the same thing for all of these pieces. This piece is the only one that's in the right place. All the rest of these have to slide upward. So I'll let you go ahead and do that. I'll do that offline. Alright, so there is that. Now the next section of cliff ledge hang mazes are over here. And just pull up my screen grab here. Okay. So this first piece we're going to put in here like this, followed by this one. And I am up against the rocks, just making sure. And then the diagonal off the top one. This one sits up here. And then to make it kind of interesting, this one's going to sit down here like this. And that one will slide back and forth. And they'll have to jump from that one to this one. Okay. And then going around the corner, we want to use this one, and it's got to be on the upper one. So like that. This one will sit over here like this, and we're going to do 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because we got to get them underneath this overhanging cliff piece. And then the diagonal, and we're going to put in 2 of these, like that. And I designed and built this based on what I saw in the Moana footage. So, put a path above and below here. And this one is going to sit over here like that. I made a few tweaks because I couldn't do it exactly as they had it. We'll go ahead and delete that piece, and we'll put in the taller piece here. So like that. But yeah, I wanted this to be as similar as possible because I was trying to see again if I could duplicate what they had, including the paths to get around the obstacles that we place going back and forth on these ledge hangs. There we go. So there's our maze for getting up there. And then the last one is for this wall back over here. And this one we're going to give the player right off the bat their choice of which way to go. So they can go left or right. So we're going to place this one right on the seam in the middle of this large wall. This will go over here. We'll put this one like that. And one over here. So there we go. And this one can sit right up against here like that, which is really sweet. 2. And then this one will straddle those like you see there, followed by a diagonal. And this will allow them to avoid the hazard that's going back and forth on that ledge down here. Alright, and then if they choose to go this way, I was going to put this vertical sliding piece over here, and this is going to sit like this. Yep. And it'll go up and down. So we'll put those three in there like that. This one's going to sit up here like this. Whoops. Oh, because that little bar had to be down below. The one that's moving. And again, this allows us to avoid the obstacle going back and forth on there. And then over here in the middle, this is where they'll try to jump to. So either path on the left or right will lead to this central area. And then we'll put another one of these in here. And this is going to sit in here like that. And there we go. There's our ledge hang maze for that. And there we have it. The build exercise for this toy box is pretty much done. It's a simple build. There's not a lot to it. Just took us 3 episodes. Next time, we'll start working on the logic, beginning with the hazards that move back and forth along the ledges in my ledge hang maze. I know some of you are curious about how I got that to work, and it's a feature you can add to just about any kind of toy box, no matter what theme or setting you're using. Thanks for watching my video today. I hope you're enjoying this new series so far. Be sure to subscribe to my channel before you go, and hit the like button. That's all for me today. See you next time.